What's up, guys? It's Caliber here.
And the Beast.
And I am Taro.
And what are we coming to talk about today, babe?
First off, we're coming to talk about my stupidity. Then second off, more importantly, we're going to talk about a little bit of knife safety. So first off, the stupidity on my part. So they're going to be quiet for some nodding and maybe some sideways chuckling. Because they still think it's hilarious. Scary. It was scary at the time. It's hilarious now. Why videos a couple months later. But bit of backstory. My friend opened up a knife shop, like website, online store, and decided to help him out with it. So I've been running half the Facebook page, now a promoter on Instagram. All that lovely information will be down below of the courtesy of Mr. Caliber. But that's not really the point. So because my friend opened up this knife shop, right, I got thinking about knives, because when I was younger, I used to have like a shit ton of knives. And just as I got older, I just stopped collecting them. I just kind of let them go off and disperse themselves into the world. Like, friend borrowed it, went missing, whatever. Sold it, not the point. Broke it, a lot of them I broke. Especially the throwing knives, which is what I used to do a lot as a teenager. I used to throw knives. Not my fault for that. But, mostly at my friends. So, moving here, there's a Target in the backyard. It seemed perfect to me. And no, I did not cut myself with a throwing knife. But I used to throw knives, so I wanted to get back into that. So he showed me these, which are kick-ass. I love them. They're my aesthetic. They are really fucking strong. Yeah?
And not gonna lie, they look like on some Resident Evil type of shit.
They do. Like, these are my favorite throwing knives I've ever owned. One, because I haven't broken them. Two, they weren't that expensive for how strong they are. They're very well weighted. Assuming I can find the center. They're very well weighted. I don't know, I sit here like this the whole time. But they're very strong. Like I said, I just tried to bend them with all of my might. You can see it has a little bit of a bend because obviously it's metal. But it's not breaking. I've broken a lot of throwing knives in my short 22 years of life. But so I got back into that. So then I was like, oh, I'll throw it out again. And I'm usually pretty good with knives. Would you two agree?
Yes.
I normally have like a pretty good record going for not killing myself. So I branched out a little bit more, and I wanted a new knife for like doing some unboxing things. So I like perused the website and found this. This came with a flint. It's a flint, and then the knife itself is steel, so you can use it as a flint and steel. It doesn't look that sharp, first off. It doesn't feel that sharp. The original purpose I bought it for, which, realizing now, this is the part that's stupid, is because I'm trying to use a knife that's not fit for the job to do a certain job. It wouldn't cut through, like, basic packaging plastic, so I was like, oh, this knife is just dull as hell. So I tried to use it to open a staple gun package. Now, I made a couple mistakes here, and I'm going to go through them on. So I'm holding, pretend this is a staple gun package, so I'm holding it like this, and right here is where that bit is. And I have literally exactly what I did. My hand hurts thinking about it. So I'm holding it like this. Obviously, this is sheath because I'm not stupid. Well, I was stupid, but I learned from my mistakes. So I'm trying to cut through the plastic, and it's not going through because obviously it's the wrong tool for the job. I should have just got scissors like a smart person and not cut towards my hand. You see what that is? You see that flipping? So I decided to apply a little bit more pressure, and it goes right through the plastic and right through my hand. So I think, oh, that didn't hurt. Probably just scratched it with the tip. I've done that before a couple of times. Put down the knife, I look down at my hand and I scream. Because I severely cut open my hand. And I'm going to show you. If you are squeamish, look away right now, and I will tell you when you can look back. Okay? This is your last warning. I will take no shit in the comments on this video of, I got no warning and there was a lot of blood. Okay? This is your warning. You ready? That's too bright. Look, you got an extra warning because I'm dumb. Alright. Last warning. Last warning. Can you see? My camera sucks, but can you see?
Yeah, I can see it.
If you're squeamish, you should still be looking away. There it is. That's my hand. That's my ring. That's my scar. Alright. If you're squeamish, you can come back. Come back. We're done showing the gross shit. So, I got a bunch of stitches. I still can't feel from like here to here. It's right there where feeling stops. And right there. So from there to there, no feeling. I cannot, it's like, when I touch it, it feels like when your face is numb. Obviously, I did some severe damage, and my lovely friend who runs the knife shop turned me into his poster child for what not to do with freaking knives. He put a picture of my hand on the Facebook page and just made fun of me for it. And these guys still laugh about me sometimes. So I'll go get a knife. The next day, after getting stitches, I'm trying to make dinner, and they're yelling at me for using a knife.
I'm just worried about you.
I know, but so what were my mistakes here? What were my mistakes? Can you point out a mistake for me?
First mistake was cutting towards yourself. If anyone has ever used a knife, you always cut away from yourself. And 2, you were using the wrong knife for the job. I mean, technically, you could still use that knife for that, but if you're going to use it, stab through and pull this way.
Yeah,
or
honestly,
push.
The worst part is, so I tried to pry open this thing several times. My sister tried to pry open this thing. When I'm on my way to the hospital to get the, 9 stitches, my roommate picks up the staple gun thing and just goes pop and just opens it. But that's my stupidity. So I want to talk about a couple of things. And that is, I'm going to quickly touch on throwing knife safety. Especially because I've made a couple of these mistakes when I was younger. If you are a noob, don't throw it by the blade. Don't do it. Don't even do what I'm doing right now. I do actually, despite almost cutting off my finger, have knife experience. A lot of it. My mom was very surprised when I told her I almost cut off my finger. She was very surprised.
I was surprised too.
As you can see, I'm not actually putting any pressure anywhere. I'm just holding it like this, mostly because this is where the aesthetic fits is. This is where you would hold the knife if you were showing it off, but I want you guys to see this. If you are an experienced knife thrower, you know that it's whatever you're comfortable with, the blade, the handle, the anything. But if you're new, and you want to make sure that your knife is balanced, you can throw it by the handle. It might feel weird, but if you're starting out, you don't want to slice open your hand whipping a knife. Because chances are you're not going to throw it right the first time. And you're going to cut yourself. Second thing, don't just chuck it. You're going to want to if you're learning yourself, you're going to want to look up how to throw a knife. And you have someone else to teach you. Look at the arm movements. You can severely mess up your rotator cuff by throwing knives incorrectly. As well as too hard. If you have a good quality knife, tip should go in pretty easily. You shouldn't have to whip it. If you've done what I've done and you've stuck in the opposite end of the knife into your target, you are throwing it way too hard. And I found that out because I've injured my rotator cuff throwing my knives too hard. It's also how you break cheap knives. Better yet, don't get cheap knives. Don't get knives that are bendy and flimsy and break. Because they're no fun. They're a waste of money. My second thing thing before he takes over for pocket knife safety is get to know your knives before you use them. And what I mean by that is I thought this knife was dull. It's still really sharp. If I run my finger up it, it doesn't feel sharp. Then I pull my finger off, and I'm bleeding. Okay? I'm not familiar with this knife at all, which is why I don't use it right now, because I'm not there. I don't really have full mobility in this hand yet, because I'm a dumbass. But I know these pretty well. That's why I will touch them in any way, shape, or form. I'm comfortable with them. Now, comfortable and cocky are very different. Am I about to go stab myself in the hand with this or anything like that? No, because I know to respect the stupid piece of metal that can cut off my hand. It's like when you, and I'm going to ask Beast if this analogy is correct, but like if you get a new gun, you want to familiarize yourself with it, correct? Yeah? You want to get to know it so you're not just fucking around with this dangerous thing. But I think that's my bit and my stupidity. You want to quickly talk about pocket knives? And
first thing, why didn't you just use the... Don't ever do this, people, but why didn't you just use the staple gun to staple yourself back together?
Because it wasn't open.
Secondly...
My roommate opened it after I was getting stitched up at the hospital.
Yeah. Secondly, the knife's not stupid, it's sharp. Or stupid sharp. Whichever you prefer.
Honestly, like, when you look at it, you wouldn't think that'd be that sharp, would you?
No.
But it did damage. It did serious damage.
Alright, so one thing I have for knife safety, and this actually goes on the lines of sharpening knife. If you're not familiar with a knife, do not sharpen it.
No.
That's...
Also, if you have like a cheaper knife, or a knife that doesn't have an edge, because like these, for example, these edges aren't real edges, I guess. They're just kind of there.
They're false edges.
I would never try to sharpen these. Like this is nothing. This is actually just like, it's not rounded, but it's like kind of jagged because of how bad of a shot I am. But they're not edges like on this. Like, I will not run my finger on this anymore.
But don't run your finger on a knife, period.
No, not unless you know it's so like this. Or like, you can see that the edges are round. Like, if you get like a show sword, don't try to sharpen it. You're just going to ruin it.
Yeah, you're going to wreck the blade. But as she said, even if you do know the knife, still don't run your... There's ways to tell if a knife's sharp. You don't have to run your hand across it. So, there's that. Also, on now I'm talking on pocket knives here, because I own a lot of pocket knives. Beast and Taro can both vouch for me on that one. I actually have a pocket knife right here. Would you look at that? Hang on, I gotta show you guys something. Beast hasn't seen this yet. Matchy matchy, bro.
Matchy matchy.
Ooh,
That's awesome.
I like that.
You can't see the colors in here, but they're the same colors. So, every pocket knife, depending on what type of knife it is, any pocket knives like these are usually going to have a lock, unless it's a slip joint. If it's a slip joint knife, then there's no lock preventing that. It's just held under pure tension. But if you do get a knife like this that has a liner lock on it, push down on the blade. Like this knife, it's a Kershaw Leek. I know this knife through and through. I'm comfortable with this knife, and I know it has a strong lock on it. I actually had a Winchester knife. Here's the second bit. Do not buy knives that are branded by gun manufacturers. Don't do it. If it's a Winchester, don't do it. Just like don't buy knives that are manufactured by camo companies like, say, Realtree or Mossy Oak. Just don't do it. These knives are not good quality. I buy them for the collection of it. I buy them for my collection.
For the record, the knife that sliced me open is a Master. It's a Master USA on this.
Yeah.
And then my strongest, like if you wanted to go on Canned Knives and look for either one of these knives, because they are both on there. Please don't play with this one. These are Razor Tactical and best throwing knives I've ever had, honestly.
Even though they're cheaper knives, the Master, and
they are cheaper, but I was honestly expecting way more of the paint to come off than what has. I'm a really bad shot. Most of the time,
I've watched her.
Yeah,
most
of the time these bounce off.
But going back to my story, I had a little Winchester pocket knife. It was about yay big. If you can see this, about that big. And I was going to cut a bottle. Again, this is my stupidity now. I was trying to cut a bottle with a little bitty ass pocket knife. Now keep in mind, I sharpened this prior. This thing was razor fucking sharp. Because I sharpen my knives. I'm familiar with most of my knives, so I tend to sharpen them. This knife I wasn't familiar with, which is why I said earlier, if you're not familiar with the knife, do not sharpen it until you're more familiar with it. Of course, you can touch up the blade here and there if there's a little imperfections, but don't full out sharpen it, make it razor sharp. So what had happened was the knife closed on, I can't remember what finger it was. I can't remember if it had to have been my middle finger. I think it was my middle finger. It closed on it and it sliced it. So I didn't, obviously it wasn't to the degree of Taro's wound. But I mean, there still drew blood, and it was a clean cut. Here's another knife safety tip for you. If a knife feels dull, do not use it. That is the worst thing you can do.
So here's the thing about like my finger. I didn't feel it. I thought I scratched my hand because of how sharp the knife is. I legitimately thought it was just a little scratch. And that's why I freaked out so bad, is because I didn't feel any pain. Granted, right after slicing it, I mean, I know I damaged some nerves too, but why it like still randomly hurts now, even though it's been a good almost 3 months, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It was before summer, so because my knife was so sharp, it didn't initially hurt. I mean, I went almost in shock because I looked down and saw that gaping hole in my hand, but it didn't hurt. And it was really easy for them to stitch back up.
Yeah, sharp knives, and I'm going to go into this here in a second, sharp knives won't hurt. If you've ever cut your, and I'm pretty sure we all have, if you ever cut yourself shaving, you don't feel anything, do you? It's because those blades are extremely, extremely sharp. Here's the thing. This is going to sound a little ironic, or not really ironic, but it's not going to make a lot of sense, but if you actually think about it, it will make sense. A sharp knife is a safe knife.
No, that is an absolute thing. A sharp knife is a safe knife.
When a knife is dull, it tears the skin, and guess what? When it tears the skin, it's harder to suture back up.
Yeah. Also, if you have to... So here's the thing. I thought my knife was dull, but I was just using it incorrectly. So I put more pressure to try and push it through the plastic, which honestly, if it wasn't going through, I should have put the knife down and found a different thing to use. But when something's dull, which obviously this wasn't, it was just the wrong job, but when something's dull, you have to put more pressure to use it.
Yeah.
And then, say you're cutting, and I mean, if you're not using the right knife, chances are you're also not using the right hand safety for cutting, and you're cutting, and then all of a sudden you're using a lot of pressure, and you clip your finger. Instead of just taking off a little bit or cutting a little bit, all of a sudden you're missing an entire top of your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the damage is just so much worse with a dull knife.
And I know there's going to be a lot of people who won't really like take anything in we're saying, but I'm going to put this out here for the people to do. If you do decide to use a knife to open a plastic packaging, say for like a staple gun or something, these, well, maybe not this knife. This knife is a $3 knife, but These type of knives are the best knives to use for that because they have this little belly right here. This little belly. So you can literally... Now, don't do what I'm doing, but you can literally go like that. And you won't have to put pressure on it and risk stabbing yourself or cutting yourself.
Yeah.
So... And sometimes you can even... And sometimes you can use knives like these. You can use the tip to open. Just don't put a lot of pressure behind it. That's all I got.
Got any tips, Beast? Maybe not leaving your knives near kids.
Oh yeah, definitely keep sharp objects away from kids. I mean, it's definitely not a good idea to have anything that could either poke an eye out or stab a sibling. In the case of my kids,
Probably. I think you're like the best example for this, and that would be teach kids early on about tool and weapon safety. Like your kids don't not to touch any of your weapons because they know they'll get hurt.
Right.
And they're like what, 3 and 6?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, kudos to you, great job. Like my mom forced that shit into me too, but there's a lot of kids out there who don't get it at all.
Right.
It's dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm done. I'm done talking about my stupidity.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I have. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to him. He is S13_the Beast, and she is Tarot Storm. Maybe one of these days she can do a video about that on her channel.
Maybe. Probably.
Anyways, guys,
and like I said before, if you want to go check out Cam Knives, it'll be listed down below. If you want to buy anything, use that discount code.
Anyways, guys, this is Storm Family signing out.